today is we'll be finishing quickly the Agile part because we are only doing the slides at the moment. But we'll come back and do the Agile in extensive detail when we do the mocks and when we do the real-time exam questions. So I just want to get your slides over and done with. I think there are 4 to 5 modules. If you look at your roadmap, you'll have risk, project risk management plan as your next title. So next module, if you like. And this is what we'll be hopefully covering today in a 40-minute session, and then another 40 minutes to wrap up Agile. So are you comfortable with me opening Agile?
Yes, please go on.
No worries. Okay, just a moment. There's Agile. Where are you, Agile? It's working in the background. Yeah. It's got too many windows open, so just bear with me. Calendar. Right. So do you remember what we got up to last time? We studied Agile.
Yes.
I think we got up to about slide number 43, if I'm not wrong. Is this correct? Slide
Let's
43.
see.
So we out of the I think 120 or 30, we got up to about 1/3. I'm just trying to open it now. Just a moment. You can get a chance to go to the supermarket. Just need to buy a new PC. This is like.
How is it over there now?
21.
Is it safe?
No, they're attacking the bank. Attacking the banks a lot. They're targeting American banks and. Sorry about the hold up.
What about the connection?
The flight, a lot of flights are being cancelled. It's still expensive. It costs you about $10,000 to fly anyway. But we'll eventually get there. I have a flight back to Australia next month. Come on. Why is it doing this to me? Too many documents. Hi, can you see my screen now, Marina? Okay.
Just
So
Agile, the first slide, right?
Yeah, the first slide.
Yes.
So I'm just gonna quickly scroll to slide number 44. We did the Agile onion rather. Onion in Indian accent. Is the Scrum team. Okay. Almost there. All right. So we did user story and user story as a template. We did ideal time. Yes. Ideal time is the time that it's assigned to a single task to a team in Agile mindset, right? So ideal time is the time with no interruptions considered and everything that needs to be available. So the team should have all the resources available, no interruptions. That means no other tasks taking over the time, and it has to be assigned to a single time box, if you like. So the ideal time, this is ideal time versus elapsed time. Elapsed time, we have the ideal time to complete the task from A to B to C or D even. And the elapsed time is the time that's lapsed, as the name suggests, right? So you have to consider the interruption in elapsed time, but not ideal time. Not important. Affinity diagram, yes. Okay, so affinity estimating, very important in Agile. What they've done compared to waterfall, they have basically did the sizing for the task for the team. For example, you know, from it's a very simple analogy, like the shirts, t-shirts, for example. Yeah, they also, it's called affinity estimating is also t-shirt sizing, right? So there could be exam questions saying, what is your understanding of affinity estimating? All right. So, and then there could be MCQs at the bottom, right? So extra small, small, medium, large, as the name suggests, right? And then again, as the t-shirts are named, tall, grande, vente, right? So 4 conditions for affinity estimating. It's a quick and easy method to estimate a large number of user stories. So basically what Agile does, it breaks down the large task into small achievable chunks, right? Small baby steps, as the analogy I've used previously, right? So this is also to break down. There could be a task, for example, 10 weeks long. So they break it down to smaller chunks, smaller. Then they allocate the sizing for it. So stakeholder reviews, sizing provides clarification and estimates for each story, right? So instead of activity, we call it user story. User story is a small, achievable chunks of tasks that we need to do in Agile, right? And they are provided for iteration planning. As you know, Agile is iterative delivery. Iterative means repetitive, right? So we do one thing over and over again until we get it right. Yes? Okay. So, and then iteration planning is one of them, right? So Agile estimating techniques, so sizing, obviously the relevant, if there's a scope, for example, to build, we were using the building construction analogy, right? So if there's a scope to, for example, build a balcony to a building or build a terrace or a pool, right? So they would break down the task into small. First of all, you have to build a level or a story. Then you'll have to put a fencing around it and then put a pool in the middle. So 3-story points, yeah? So, you know, in affinity estimating context, there could be building a balcony could be a large size story compared to building a pool, which is a smaller size story, right? But building a pool in a balcony with a glass gallery or a screen, if you like, there could be the whole big task. And then they break it down to small achievable chunks. So planning poker, we can come back to later. Planning poker is another thing, another concept additional to the t-shirt sizing technique. So if you look at the time, there could be time boxing. Once again, you time box the task. So you can say, okay, the whole building a swimming pool with a fence, glass fence, for example, in a balcony could take 10 weeks. But if you time box it, you know, building a terrace or a level could take 5 weeks out of the 10, And then building a pool could take 2 weeks. Building a fence could take the remaining 3 weeks. Ideal time is the time that's required for the team to actually complete the task. Velocity, the speed, and then cycle, lead times, right? Lead times, you would be very well aware what are the cycle and lead times, right? Okay, so planning FOCA, I'll quickly, at the definition level, I'll quickly run you through it. It estimates the effort or relevant size of development effort. Use a deck of cards with modifier Fibonacci numbers. Did I run you through Fibonacci? Fibonacci numbers we can come back to later. We have to do formulas and numbers at the moment later. But Fibonacci diagram is one of them, and that's used in planning FOCA, right? There's also called Scrum FOCA. And then story pointing is a relevant measure. Story pointing is a measure, e.g. numbers of Fibonacci diagram. So when we do Fibonacci diagram, we can come back to planning FOCA. But it's not hugely important, right? So again, a relative unit of measure used to estimating planning work. Again, these are the storing points I told you. They also used to be called activities in project deliverables or work breakdown structure, right? Unit of measurement for overall size. Do you have any questions about affinity estimation? Yeah, so basically breaking down to more achievable chunks, right? Same analogy as t-shirt sizing, right? So planning FOCA, we can cover, not important, we can go back to later because I have to go through the whole Fibonacci sequence. Remind me, let me just write it down. We got to do the Fibonacci diagram. Okay, estimated velocity. Again, velocity is the rate of progress for the work to be completed, as we previously discussed. Velocity is also calculated by estimating number of story points. Story point, again, a measure for the work that's delivered, yeah? Or activity, or a story point, or a chunk of work that's being delivered by the team. And then that can be completed during an iteration. Iteration is a packet of delivery, right? So for example, I'm building a prototype for a jet plane, right? So I have to, again, I'm bound to build a minimum viable product, right? A plane that flies, right? Or a mobile phone, for example, as we last used, a mobile phone that has a camera in it and that has a processor, right? A minimum functional one. And then you can add features later. Minimum functional hardware, like a sample product. And then you can add Android features later on top of it, right? So again, it's the minimum amount of work that needs to be done. Velocity is obviously the speed at which the team completes the iteration. Iteration is a packet of work or deliverable, if you like, in predictive, right? And then basically the goal is to achieve a constant velocity from one iteration to the next. So they are looking at, if you look at this graph here, they want to achieve someone constant, right? They don't want a bell curve, for example, up and down. They need something constant and consistent because that's time box with time. So you have, again, this is just a gesture. 5 fingers means agree in project management language. As you would know, it's in a business world. And fist would mean 5 fingers means yes, I agree. Fist means yes, I don't. I disagree with you, right? So fist to 5 they call it. And then Roman voting is also another concept. Polling, dot voting, not important. But a fist to 5 is a good one to remember. So what's the fist of 5? Fist to 5. Open hand means yes, I agree. Closed hand means I don't agree. Okay. Moving on. Kano model, theory of customer satisfaction. Not important. Not hugely important. 100-point method. I've never seen an exam. Well, we do the questions later. You'll never see an exam question in Kano model, but it's a good one to read and remember. In the interest of time, I'm just gonna skip to the important stuff. Product increment, yes, important, right? Product increment is basically, it's a sum of product work completed during a sprint, right? So sprint, obviously, as we discussed previously, combined with the work that's completed during previous sprint. So basically, increment is I'm building a mobile phone, yes, with a camera in it, right? The increment would mean I'm gonna add value to it, right? So I can add value to it by installing a software feature in it that allows me to connect to the other mobile phones or the computers, for example, like they do in Apple phones and MacBooks, right? There would be a product increment. Yes?
Mm-hmm.
So adding value to an existing product is a product increment. The goal of a sprint is to produce a done product increment. So sprint, basically a packet of work or a task or a deliverable, is to produce a done product. Remember, we did a definition of done. Definition of done means, a minimum viable product that's accepted by the customer, that's considered done and functional. For example, I'm cooking a bread in an oven, right? And it's being made as well. When I take it out of the oven and put it on the dish to serve, yes, and then it's accepted by the person I'm actually offering it to eat, right? That's my definition of done in Agile. And this is exactly what they're talking about. It's a piece of work that is done and then increment to it. So me taking the bread out of the oven, putting it on a serving dish and putting butter on it. Putting butter would mean an increment, right? Putting basil on it will be another increment. Maybe add some garlic on it, there will be additional increment. That I'm adding value to the bread.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So if you look at it from that point of view, that means I'm supposed to build the same mobile phone, putting that into a pool context, right? So I'm supposed to build a balcony with glass fence to the pool. Every time I add some feature into the pool, for example, hot or cold water, they'll be adding value. They'll be called product increment. So that's a good one to remember. All right, additional agile approaches. Okay, Kanban methods. Agile and Kanban method. Kanban is derived from Agile. Agile is a broader context. Mindset, for example, Kanban is just a method, right? Kanban board, I told you about, right? Big, simple, big boards where the teams can go and pick up work and add value to the increment. Blend various methods to achieve best outcomes regardless. Focus on delivering value, respect for people, minimizing waste, obviously lean. That comes in being transparent and honest. That's the quality of a servant leader or a project manager, servant leader in Agile. Adapting to change, being resilient to change. Look at the Middle East conflict as well. Who would have known, 3 months ago, this was going to happen? The whole world's falling apart. Oil prices, crude, Hormuz, bubblement up nowadays. So it's all adapting to change. Supply chains are disrupted, if not destroyed. So you basically maneuvering around the uneventualities that may occur when running a project. And you constantly improve. You learn from the past and constantly improve. So under Agile, you've got lean. Lean means, as the name suggests, it's a methodology invented by Toyota, right? So lean, basically, the measure for that is Six Sigma, so 3.4 effective units per million manufactured. All right, Scrum, as we all know, extreme programming, and pair programming, as we discussed it, Kanban, board, and then don't worry about DSDM. This is very deep into Scrum. So you've got to remember Lean, Scrum, extreme programming, and Kanban. Extreme programming is where when you have two people, you've got a coder and a tester. Tester is doing testing as the coder codes in the program, and it's done constantly. It's called extreme programming or pair programming. right? So lean software development, not important. Yeah, as we extreme programming XP is another methodology. So basically planning game, guide product to deliver, release planning. As every time we release a feature for a product, for example, as I previously discussed, you adding a feature, you adding an increment to the product, and then planning around releasing that feature is called release programming. All right, and then iteration planning, as we previously did. Small releases, the time frame for that is time boxing, usually once a week. So you're adding an increment with a feature once a week, right? Technical collaborative practices, as we said, pair programming we discussed, refactoring. This is very deep into IT stuff in Scrum, right? Testing and continuous integration of the software. Programmer, tester, things are done simultaneously, right? Okay, very close to XP. That again, this is all iteration plan, acceptance test, right? So it's a bit like a calendar. Stand-up meeting, 15 minutes, stand-up, pay negotiation. This is very deep into Scrum as well, and XP. DSDM, right? The traditional approach. Remember we discussed it at the very start, the inverted triangle approach. This is that, right? So usually time, one factor, cost, quality in the middle, and as you move along, the features, the task or the load of work, features get smaller. DSDM approach, that means you start from a functional level. As I said, build a phone with a basic camera, and then as we move along, we expand, right? So you add features to it, and then as we add features, the cost obviously goes up, and it takes more time to develop. Yeah. All right, sounds good. All right, so this is the DSDM approach. FTD, not important. Test-driven, that's very deep into IT. Crystal, not important. Time cycles, as we previously said, cycle time, every time between two successive deliveries of completed work items, right? This is the cycle time. Cycle time, the shorter is better, right? So adding camera software, for example, and adding an update feature to a mobile phone, there could be the time taken between two tasks is a cycle time. Shorter the better, right? So lead time on a bigger scale, right? So time between initiation to delivery. So basically from the point where you start building that mobile phone to the time where you have complete product in the box ready to be delivered to the customer, right? That's the lead time. So difference between cycle time and lead time. Lead is on a bigger scale until the finishing line, and cycle time is the time between two different tasks. Yes?
Okay. All clear.
Good. XP metaphor, not important. Agile concept, cycles, and release planning. We discussed it. Just take a read through it. Story mapping, not important. PMI just adds tons of information because they've actually made Agile as a teams in Agile 50% of the exam. So they're putting a lot of. You won't see this much content in the rest of the module. Time boxing, as we deliver, this is say usually 1 to 4 weeks. For an iteration, time boxing means assigning a short fixed time period to accomplish specific task, effort, or a scope of the product, right? Time boxing. Does it make sense? Stop me if I'm being too fast. I just want to make sure that you understand the concepts before we move along.
It's clear. Thank
backlog. You. Yeah, good. Thanks, Marina. Agile backlog. Backlog is the same as product backlog. is the product backlog is a list of user stories to be completed, right? So the backlogs are refined by the product owner on every backlog refinement meeting, right? User stories, it could be a release backlog, it could be intellectual property rights approvals from regulatory, they could be delaying the release of a certain product. For example, I'm releasing a medication into a market and it has to be FDA approved. So FDA is taking time to do their homework before the approval is granted, right? Story backlog is the backlog. Obviously a user story is an ordered list of work, short description, functionality presented in a user story format, right? So this is all repetitive stuff, right? Special intervals, not important. Performance report types. Yes, we'll go through information radiators. Information radiators, just for your understanding, a big visual board. Remember I told you about big yellow bright chart? In a building, signs, fire exit sign, or toilet sign, for example, or sign for a meeting room, big, bright, illuminated signs, right? Like information radiators, if you look at it from the Agile concept, right? Public high traffic locations. It could be a lobby room or a staff room or a kitchen room, for example, in a building. Burn down chart is a graph that shows the progress by plotting the burn down of work, the remaining work in an iteration. Burn up chart is the one show the progress and gains made by the project. The work burn down is the work remaining. Burn up is the work completed. Very simple one to understand, right? EVM report, earned value management, earned value. So when we do the formulas, we'll do the variances and earned value and the whole lot. Work performance report, quality report, again, quality metrics and charts, dashboard, right? Scrum Agile Kanban board, big boards with different tasks for the team to pick. Throughput metrics, basically a measurement of teamwork that has moved from one stage to another stage over a set time. So throughput metrics as we are moving from one task to the other. Cycle time, we discussed quality, AV, it's all repetitive stuff, velocity of work. All right, so how are we doing with time? Again, just to give you an understanding of information radiator, right? Information radiator, big bright signs, visible, high traffic area, on display, opposite to the information on a refrigerator. That's a good analogy to put in. Self-explanatory and simple, so person who's reading it who would understand without having to ask questions. Up to date, right? There could be a task board, or there could be information about the remaining part of the project, or team, or story points we have to deliver. Big visible charts, testing indicators. Yeah, team rules, ground rules, for example, they could be put on the information as an information radiator format, right? Like you see in schools, right? Don't wear colored uniform or no. Again, burn down chart is the chart amount of work remaining. Burn up chart, amount of work completed so far. And then iterations along. Lead cycle time, we all discussed it. All right, retrospectives and lesson learned. So we discussed it in the last session. What are the lesson learned? So retrospectives. They call it it's the same thing. Lesson learned. It's just that in Agile they call it retrospectives. Help me.
Sir, I didn't hear you.
No, that's okay. Marina, what's your understanding of a project or a task retrospective in Agile?
The last the sequences, what happened in the last period?
Yeah, absolutely.
Retrospective.
Gather data on improvements and recognize the success, recognize and appreciate the work success,
Mm.
and what went well, what could have been better, right? So they're
Mm.
all agile retrospectives. Then you implement the results of project retrospectives, right? Conducting, these are a few guidelines for conducting a project retrospective in agile, right? So look back, product boss, collaboration game, not important. Consensus obviously is very important in a team. They have to reach consensus. 3 to 5, we understand Roman voting, polling, dot voting. This is just getting feedback. It's, these 3 or 4 methods, from 3 to 5 being the most important, is just getting feedback from your team, right? Instant feedback. Am I with you or am I not with you? That just.
This method is mostly used, right? With the fist.
Yeah, 3 to 5. 3 to 5 means yes. I agree. Yeah, like they do
Okay.
in parliaments, right? You work for the government, and you would know how to do in parliament. Yes,
Voting.
anyone with say I, when they do I, it means yes, I agree. Or what's the other? What's the other one? I not, so whatever. The members who don't agree, they will hold the hands like that. So what do I have? Show hand. Well, raise the hand. It's getting smarter. Blockers. Events or conditions that cause stoppages, roadblocks, they call it. Blockers, stoppages in the work advancement. For example, supply chain disruptions in this whole war scenario. Um, LNG gas not being supplied to aluminum manufacturers or fertilizer manufacturers. Or rare earth, China putting an embargo on rare earth being exported to US. The US not able to build those Patriot or F-35 Joint Strike fighters without those key ingredients. Risk register. Risk register is basically when you have impediments, they may be due or results. So it's the same with issue and the risk we discussed in the previous session. Issue, we put that in the issue log. Risk, that issue that's been realized, and then we build a strategy on how to deal with the risk. When we study risk now, in the next component, we'll be studying that in a greater detail. Risks that actually raised formally during a daily stand-up meeting. Handle impediments, 7 data. This is all theory. That's pretty much it with Agile. This is, do you want to do a couple of questions? We still have some time. Yes? Okay. Reading the last question first, right? So let me just load this. What are the two, last line first, right? Remember the rule? What are the two most important principles of Agile Manifesto and why? Right? To ensure project success. There is no perfect answer, but you must have an opinion. Right? Agile principle. Why is it important? Agile principle. Why important? Huh. That doesn't make sense. Let's ignore that one. All right. So what does it mean to be a servant leader? Servant leader, as you know, is a project manager. And what is the core focus end goal of each of the 3 main roles? Remember the 3 Amigos concept: product owner, project team, Scrum Master. Yes, Scrum Master is a facilitator or a servant leader or a project manager. This is Scrum Master. This is project manager in Agile. All right, 3 Amigos. Would you be able to tell me what are the roles for these 3?
The team are all the people involved in the project, right? Development team.
Yes. Okay.
Scrum
So
Master,
what is the role?
project.
Let me rephrase. What is the role of a project owner in a project, in an Agile project?
The person that is leading the project, responsible
Product
for
owner. Product owner.
Not project. Product owner.
Product
Is
owner.
The customer?
Customer's voice. Well done. Well done. A category manager in these days, they call him product category manager. It's the customer's voice, right? It comes straight from the customer, and it comes back and keeps on telling us on a regular basis, could be weekly basis, in a backlog refinement where we prioritize the deliverables or user stories. It could say what customer needs, right? Customer may need an additional feature, right? This is the beauty of Agile, and the customer is allowed to change their mind and add more, add or change features. Where in predictive, you agree to something, agree to a scope, get it signed off in a charter. That's all you have to do. You don't go that extra mile. Project team, as the name suggests, and Scrum Master, obviously the facilitator.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Another question, just for your understanding. Make it smaller a bit. These are not MCQs. These are just questions for you to refresh your memory. Yes. For you to understand. You can go back and look for the slides, and that's the end of Agile. Do you have any questions about what we just covered today?
It's pretty clear. Thank you so much.
All right, lovely. Let's take a 10-minute break, and then we can come back and do the risk. Yes?
Yes. Thank you.
All right, sounds good. All right, I'll see you in about 10 minutes, but I'll